Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. Welcome back to New Tech Unbox, and after months of waiting, I finally managed to get my hands on a PlayStation 5. The beginning part of this review shows me looking for a PlayStation 5 for months, and every single website I've visited was saying the same thing: out of stock. I wanted to include this part of the video to advise those still looking to pick one up on how I managed to get it, as I received a couple of questions when I posted an image on Instagram. What you need to do is sign up to any store that's currently selling the PlayStation 5. Just call them up, add yourself to a waiting list. I honestly thought the shortage problem wouldn't last, but hey, 8 months later and I've grabbed one. Some reports are now predicting the shortage will continue up until 2023. So yeah, get signed up and they will let you know when they have a delivery coming. You can go to the store, pay for it, wait a couple of weeks, and when it arrives they'll let you know. Okay, in terms of the packaging, the PlayStation 5 comes in all white box. On the front we have a picture of the PlayStation in a vertical position and a controller next to it, the PlayStation 5 logo, and on the top right it says 8K, 4K 120 and HDR. On one side of the box we have the PlayStation logo and the contents of the box at the bottom. On the rear we have a PlayStation 5 next to a controller, now in a horizontal position, a slogan, play like never before, and most importantly 825 gigabytes of storage. Okay, let's get the unboxing out of the way quickly. I know many of you have probably seen this, so I won't dwell for too long. You're first greeted with an all white cardboard box which contains all the extras that come with the console. Inside you get some paperwork and some instructions which I really should be reading but I never do, a power cable, the DualSense controller, which has the same color theme as the console itself. It also looks really nice and very futuristic. Not too much has changed on the appearance side from the previous generation controller, but a major upgrade on the haptic feel. A little bit more on that later. You also get a HDMI to HDMI cable included, a USB-A to USB Type-C cable to connect and charge your DualSense controller. You also get a stand which allows you to have the console in a vertical or a horizontal position. Also I'll show you how to fit that on a little bit later. It's mainly made out of plastic with some rubber texture where it kind of makes contact with the console or the table to avoid scratches. It also twists to reveal a screw which you will need if you want to have the PlayStation in a vertical position. Again, a bit more on that a little bit later. Finally, this is the console itself. And I'll just leave this snapshot here just to give you a final look at the contents of the box. Now I know a lot of you would have already seen this, but honestly it is a work of art from a hardware perspective when you see it in real life. I know lots of memes came out at the beginning about it looking like a router, but honestly it is nice, and especially when standing in a vertical position. It has a off-white color on the plastic outer covers and a very glossy black finish to the middle. As I said, I personally think it looks better standing, but I'm sure it will eventually end up on most people's TV stands just to save space. It is a big console and you're kind of taken back by the sheer size when handling it and trying to plug it in. It's larger in every respect compared to the PlayStation 4, apart from its depth, which for me fit perfect. The inner plastic part at the top is engraved, so you see these little tiny PlayStation button symbols, which I think is really nice feature and great attention to detail from Sony. Thumbs up there. Also, one thing that's notable, the PlayStation logo is actually carved into the plastic as opposed to being a sticker, as was the case on previous generations. It's very easy to fit the stand. If you want to have the console in a vertical position, just rotate the stand at the back to refill the screw. Pop off the plastic screw cover at the bottom of the console. Store it in the holder inside of the stand so you don't lose it. Again, very nice touch from Sony. Push the hooks to the back of the console, line it up and simply screw it in. For horizontal placement, lay the PlayStation flat, and on the rear you will see the PlayStation Play buttons. Line the hooks of the stand with the two squares either end. Push it in and you're done. You do need to make sure it's placed correctly, otherwise your console will wobble. Let's now talk about the DualSense controller, because honestly this is where the major gameplay experience happens. The weight is good, not too heavy, but it also gives the feeling of very good engineering. Like it feels as though there are motors inside even before you start playing any games. Very well built, great quality. Looks wise, the directional buttons and the play buttons, or symbols if you like, are clear and they boast like a shiny glossy look. They're also a different texture from the rest of the controller completely, and they have a good sort of feedback when pressed. We've got a create button on the top left, an options button which has now been replaced with this 3 lines. Before it said options on it on the previous generation. The joysticks are very nice and grippy. The PlayStation logo is now cut out as opposed to being a button with a drawing on it as on the previous generation. It has a built-in microphone and a dedicated mute button for convenient access, and a headphone jack. We've also got the touchpad, which is slightly wider and definitely has more of a clicky feeling than the previous generation. At the top we have the USB-C port for charging and connecting your controller to the console, and the trigger buttons, and these are where things get very cool. So usually you pull the trigger and it feels the same every time, but now the triggers adapt depending on certain games that you play or tasks that you're completing during the game. So for example, in Astro's Room, which comes as a free game on the console pre-installed, if throwing an object or you're pulling on something, it feels like it's resisting, giving you the impression that you're actually playing the game yourself. It's so hard to explain, and you really kind of do need to try it to really appreciate it, but the engineering and the feel are really great. I do feel like kind of inviting people over to my house and recording their reaction when they play using the DualSense controller, so do let me know if that's something you'd be interested in watching in the comments below. But honestly, the experience feels real rather than digital, and I can really see this being introduced into future shooting games, for example, where different guns will have different haptic feedbacks, or even racing games when pulling off the start line, for example, or coming around the corner. I'm just going to throw in a couple of shots of the previous gen controller so you can sort of have a comparison. I've also bought an all black PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, and here's how that looks. I did kind of feel like I was wasting money when I brought it as an extra controller, as I found out, you know, the PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible, but it's definitely worth the money. I think when people come over and you're playing with other people, they definitely need to get that haptic feedback sense to really appreciate the console. To turn the console on, you can just press the power on button on the console itself, or you can use the controller just by pressing the PlayStation logo. The controller will light up blue around the touchpad when turned on immediately, and then white when the main menu comes up, as does the console itself. Okay, moving on, what do I think of the interface? Well, it's simple and very easy to navigate. I like the fact that the background and the music changes depending on the game you are on or you've selected or hover over. This might not be the case on every game that's out yet on PlayStation 5, but that's the case on every game I've played so far. You have two main menus, one for your games that you played and one for your media. Media tab allows you to scroll through all the different media applications that you have. You can always download others from the PlayStation Store, but these are the ones that come pre-installed with the console. If you go up to the main tabs at the top on the right, you will find a search function which literally allows you to search for anything you want on the PlayStation. It could be games, videos, images from in-game play, or apps, for example. You have your settings tab where you can change all your settings such as network, accessibility, systems, storage, and many more. And finally, you have a profile tab, which basically allows you to change your profile information, allows you to change your online status, check your profile information, trophies, switch users if you have more than one, so on and so forth. So there's also the quick menu feature. If you press a light press on the PlayStation button, you access this feature. At the bottom you have a variety of options, so you can switch between the games you've recently played and the applications recently opened. You have a notification menu. You've got a game base which shows you who's online. You've got your music, which you can actually connect to your Spotify account. You have your sounds. It's basically a quick menu to allow you to control the sounds of your controller, sounds of your output, your speaker, your TV, music output and video output. You've also got a mute option which allows you to mute your mic, accessories tab and a profile tab. Finally, you've got a power off and rest tab, allow you to rest the console, and you can also go to the home main menu through that as well. So yeah, overall guys, I'm very happy with my purchase and I can't wait for more games to be released soon. The gameplay on the games that I've played so far has been very smooth. The console itself is extremely quiet due to the use of SSD, and although the storage is a downside for me, being only 825 gigabytes, which in reality translates to 650 gigabytes due to the system software that are pre-installed. You can actually attach an external drive and an internal drive, which I'm hoping to do a video on very soon. You will find that in the description below when that gets released. And that's it from me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the first look at the PS5 on my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions for upcoming videos related to the PS5 or not, do drop them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Do like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.